Hello everybody and welcome to this week's auction video, ending anywhere between the very first here of July and very early in the morning on Thursday the 3rd. Now we still plan to bring you our normal auction video, probably a live stream later this week, but we wanted to show off some of these awesome auctions that are happening here early in the week to kick off this Independence weekend with an absolute bang. Our first one here is a really important story to go along with it, but first let's take a look at how beautiful this animal really is. This Barnhart Black Pastel Leopard Banana Yellowbelly Clown has a whole lot going for it. Obviously, banana clowns have been long-standing one of the most popular morphs out there. It is the morph that got me into wanting to officially breed way back when just a banana clown was still pushing $3 grand. But this girl here is an absolute firecracker. I love how vibrant the oranges are on this, and then of course the black pastel just mixing to just create this iconic lavenderish type look, almost like a steely type undertone to it, and again just bursting even within it with these nice oranges, just so vibrant. Nothing's faded with the oranges at all. Being a female banana clown is an extra boost right there. There is a reserve, however, I always just say bid up to where you are comfortable, and if you do not feel comfortable going any further and the reserve price has not fallen off, well, no harm, no foul. Either someone will continue to bid or the auction will end null and void. Now you see the weight here shows 395 grams. That's pretty good because some of the work has been taken out of it for you, but I have it on good authority that it is pushing closer to actually 600 grams, so even more so close to that threshold and even closer to where you need to be to get them to breed, usually at that 1500 gram mark. While some people in ball python community do just look at the genes, I think that it's very important that we start looking at not just the genes but the quality, because there are differences when you look at certain animals, and I believe that is done whether it be through line breeding or whatnot. There are certain people who just seem to create really great stuff, and this is one of those, especially with the Barnhart Black Pastel, which is not a polygenic trait of Black Pastel. It is its own line. It works pretty similar and is allelic to Black Pastel, so you will basically still get a super Black Pastel if you were to breed them together, for example, but it is a little bit more exceptional. Now I did say there was a story behind this, and that is because Royal X Reptiles, who we have shown on auction videos in the past and have gotten along quite well with at the Tinley Park shows that we've gone to. Now without sharing too many private details, they've received some unfortunate medical news. These are some very good people with a young son who's kind of taking the reins here of this company. So with that said, on this particular animal, please keep that in mind, that these are going to help someone who would otherwise be not selling this animal, who would be keeping it and have a great passion for it. They are unfortunately having to downsize, obviously, and control their costs. So while you could get in a good opportunity here, I think the better thing to think of here is the fact that you're still able to get an awesome animal while helping out awesome people. So this one should end sometime on Wednesday, and we'll post a story as well around that time to kind of call attention to it, because it is a really good animal. You would be getting something amazing and doing something amazing at the same time. So happy bidding, and I hope someone is able to add this beautiful girl to their collection and do some amazing things with her. Another one with a reserve price here, however, an opportunity you do not see very often would be this proven breeder, a Mandarin Black Pastel Hypo Het Cryptic. There's a whole lot of upside to something like this. For one, having a proven breeder means that you're good to go. As soon as you get the weight back on, it looks like it had just recently laid, she will be ready to go for next season. Of course, the goal here, in my opinion, would be to immediately put this to a Mandarin Hypo or to a Mandarin Het Hypo, especially since you also have the opportunity for Cryptic to come along for the ride, at least in its het form. So maybe if you're lucky, you can find something with Cryptic in there, but you don't have to stop there because you can actually get something with Clown in it. If you are not aware, Cryptic and Clown are allelic, and they create a Krypton, which is a really cool combo, which really messes with the eye stripes and the head pattern, almost like a mixture of the two of them. So you could create something, I'm not sure if that's a world first, but you could potentially create a Super Mandarin Hypo Krypton or Cryptic. That would be something else. Don't forget that that awesome gene Black Pastel is floating around in there as well. So some cool opportunity to have here. Now, it is not lost on me that this is a little more pricey one, and the reserve price still has not been met. That is because you do not see things like this very often. As you can see, there is bids. So I don't know what that reserve price is, but if you're interested, as I always say, kind of just walk it up there. Now, they did change the incremental prices. You can see here it's $20 minimum now, but you can kind of walk it up there in little increments until you reach your maximum. Let's just say it was $2,000. Don't just bid $2,000, just kind of walk it on up there, and when it does drop off, then you can stop, and if it doesn't drop off, well, that's okay, because you don't have to bid any longer. Either someone will take the baton and continue, and if nobody else does, it will just null and void when the auction ends. Still a really cool opportunity for someone to possibly get, and this would be ending decently soon, so something to consider, and happy bidding. Next up would be the first of a few monarchs that are available. From MSB Reptiles would be this beautiful monarch Mojave Het genetic stripe girl. Another one here that you don't see all that much of, especially with the Het genetic stripe, and their monarch and genetic stripe are pretty iconic, considering that the first monarchs, well, they were genetic stripes. Funny story to that is a good chance that this is related to the very first monarchs, because MSB Reptiles bought out the person who created all of the original monarchs. This will be ending roughly a day after this video comes out. There will be a good amount of interest, as you can see already with 28 bids. I am one of them. But if you are looking for a monarch, and a female at that, and have a nice little extra bit to it with what Mojave does to it, which really lightens it up and gives this almost reddish tinge, almost like the dirt of Mars. It's very iconic, honestly. And usually I like the darker side of monarch, but there are certain things that just go very well. But monarch itself works very well both ways, with both dark and light genes. It just excels with everything you put to it. Is outstanding, and this is just further proof to it. I'd love to see this with the genetic stripe. I'm fairly certain it has been created here, but a really nice girl and a great opportunity if you can pry her from my hands, that is. If, however, you do not hit on that one, there are a few other opportunities here, one being a pair with both a male and a female Het monarch. Now, going head-to-head is not the most ideal way to do things, but if you are on a budget, that's not a bad thing to do, because you are still getting 1 in 4 chances of hitting a visual monarch, and that visual monarch might be all you need to get started, especially if you get it into a male and you can start pairing that male once he gets up to size, which they don't take all that long for after they're born. Honestly, I've seen them be ready in 6 months, but usually about a year for a male, year and a half. Needless to say, however, it is likely with the odds of 6 eggs from a female, so long as she breeds, that you could be looking at a monarch or 2 within the next 3 years or so if everything goes well. And actually, the female here is already almost 500 grams, so you already have that going for you. A good amount of that work has been put into it. And the male is actually a Pastel Spectre as well. As I mentioned, a monarch goes well with just about everything, and Pastel, although some people seem to try to shy away from it, they go very, very well with Pastel. It cleans it up incredibly well, and it is actually ready to go. So if you already have Het monarchs, you could start breeding this one right away or work with a friend. Not a bad deal at all. Free shipping on it as well. Wouldn't be a bad one if you are on a budget and you wanted to get into monarch, and a little quicker than just if you had just bought 2 hets right off the bat and raised them up, because a lot of the work has been put into it for you. And finally, if you want to create something a little bit more like what we just saw with our visual monarch to begin with, there is a Mojave Het monarch girl right here. So you can immediately start with a proven breeder. There is 1 bid on it right now, but again, you'll have about a day and a half from when this video comes out, and you could create basically what you're seeing right here. Outstanding opportunity for this one too. I'd be very curious to see what this goes for. There's some strong showings for monarch this week. There's no doubt about that. Next up would be another great opportunity with an awesome genetic, would be this male sunset. If you are introducing a new genetic into an established collection, I think that starting with a male is ideal, because then you can raise him up and start breeding him into your collection and create your hets on your own with established awesome combos that you've already been working. A very nice example too, with some stunning color. There's so much I love about sunset. I plan to work it into my monarch after seeing the ultra male sunsets. They are absolutely stunning. I think it works incredibly well with things like banana. There's a lot that it works well with, and you can definitely see they already just started at what they thought their reserve price is. They won't accept less than $550. Another one right around that exact time from the last few we've been looking at. So if you are looking for a sunset male to get started, this would be a great one to keep an eye on. Next up, just wanted to look at some of the hognoses this week. As you can see, there are usually not a whole bunch, but there's some nice ones. So I did want to highlight one, and actually one becomes 2, because it is this Leucistic pair, and one of them is a visual Leucistic, and the other is a Het Leucistic. So the male is the visual Leucistic, and the female is the Het Leucistic. Unrelated pairs here as well, if that is something that bothers you. So within the future, you could start creating your own Leucistics. Now, I remember, what was it, 5 years ago, maybe a little more, I lose track of time, the first Leucistic Hognoses coming out and seeing a $10,000 sticker price on them, and it has come down since then, but they are still well up there. As you can see, there is a reserve price on this. Same thing goes that we've mentioned for the other ones. So if you wanted to bid that up, don't let a reserve price scare you away. I don't know why. If you are interested in that, then stick with it. Put a placeholder bid on it. It will remind you, and then you can come back and kind of play with it near the end and see what's been happening. See if someone else has already beat the reserve. See if you can get it to where you're comfortable. Don't let a reserve price scare you away, because this is a great opportunity for someone in Hognoses that wants to start working with the Leucistics in Hognose. Back in the ball pythons would be this Spotnose Leopard, possible Russo clown from Portuguese pythons. Always some really quality snakes that we see from them. And of course, we all know the Spotnose Leopard is of course the Batman. So the Russo would be an excellent addition. You can test for Russo, by the way, so you can send that shed in to RGI and they would be able to tell you. And I do think that's an important question to answer, because Russo is in the Blue-Eyed Lucy complex. And if you're working with Batman and other such clown combos, we all love Blue-Eyed Lucies, but I'd rather not get one in that particular case, because it would cover up all that beauty with a nice white coat. However, not working it against other Blue-Eyed Leucistic genetics would be really nice, because Russo does enhance genetics quite a bit and makes them look a lot more beautiful. However, it can be difficult to see in many combos by itself, or even with some combos. Trust me, I know from personal experience because I work it. Still a really cool opportunity. It just went up. There's no bids on it yet, but that will change. Couple proven breeders here as well, again with this pied girl. So not for everyone, but some people just want to get into it and start seeing and proving to themselves that they can do this, and a nice way to do that is proven breeders nowadays. I remember that the pieds, when I was buying them, had a rule, and the rule was that it was $1 a gram. That is no longer the case, but it was the case when I started doing all this. So they were pretty expensive. So now you can get a proven breeder that can help you gain confidence while not just making normals. So if you're going to practice, essentially, if you're going to gain that confidence that you can breed, I think a proven breeder is a great way to do that. Before you start investing some really major money, get yourself a proven breeder and go from there and just prove to yourself, hey, I can do this. And I can tell you right now that as long as you do your research, it is not a difficult thing to breed ball pythons, quite frankly. But I completely understand wanting to have a few under your belt before you start investing some major money in that. And of course, if you buy them as babies and breed them up, to prove to yourself is going to take about 3 years. And by then, there's certain things that might have passed you by. So a proven breeder, I think it's a sure bet for somebody who is just kind of questioning how much into this they think they'll be and whether they have what it takes. Back to Portuguese pythons, if you wanted to get something with a little bit more to it, you could get this proven breeder Enchi pied. So one extra gene there. Enchi will bring in quite a bit more pattern onto pied. I've had certain ones, especially if you get super Enchi, where all you do is get that pied pattern, like on the top here, these saddles and these crazy patterns that pied do, sometimes some of these nice oranges that it brings in. But I've had ones that were no white, and when I mean no white, I mean it. There was nothing. They did have that belly pattern and whatnot, but they are very, very beautiful and a great way to create something with a little bit more spice to it. Big girl at that, so I can't imagine she would take too much longer to get up to size if she hasn't laid recently. For our second to last one, this girl here would be this Pastel Leopard, Yellowbelly, Hurricane, or Trick Het Clown. Lots of really great opportunity here. Hurricane clowns are outstanding. Most of the time when you get a clown, you are eliminating the eye stripes. But Hurricane, usually in my experience, brings them back, but in a weird, funky way. They're usually much thicker, a little bit more wavy. The patterns are absolutely nuts, as you can see here. Named for as if a hurricane came and left a whole mess behind. Although what you're not looking at is a mess, of course. It's just so chaotic and jumbled up. It works incredibly well with Leopard. They don't really just like eat each other up and do the same thing. It's an incredible combo there to have. Yellowbelly is always amazing to have along for the ride for all the options that you have with that. I don't know what the reserve price would be. Oh, never mind. We do know what the reserve price is. They just tell you it's 125 bucks. I can tell you right now that for 125 bucks, this is an absolute steal. Get yourself a visual clown to put to this. If you want to work something even more insane, get an asphalt clown, because then you can create highway hurricane clowns. But there's a lot of other options that you could do here too. And guess what? I'm going to say it. blackhead, because I always do, because blackhead works well with everything. A blackhead male clown, that would be very nice too to work into this combo. Just an extraordinary amount of things you can do with this girl. And I always love the potential of finding deals like this where you can find something that I think many people will sleep on and they might not pay attention to. I mean, I guess we'll see. It's got some time left, but I think this is an absolute killer steal right now. If it goes for 125 bucks plus 50 shipping, this is going to make you very happy when she lays babies. I guarantee it. And finally, not something you see very often at all, and that is a Monsoon that presumably has no reserve on it. Looks to the reason that it was put up at 3,000 and someone just bid the minimum of 320 or something along those lines. Again, you don't see this very often, and a male at that is a bonus, because you can immediately get this and breed it into females, and it won't take long. You know, you can get them up to size in about a year, or maybe a little bit more, maybe even a little bit less in some cases. I've seen stranger, that's for sure, and I've had them breed under a year before and get up to good size during that time. But the benefit of having a male is, since Monsoon is a still very highly priced morph, it stands to reason that most of us would be buying hets of some sort to work to. So getting a visual male is the way to go, because that male you pay the price for one time, and then all the females you get could be hets. You could get extra genetics with them, and the price of those are not as much, not anywhere near as much. On top of that, if you have some 66% hets or anything like that, there is a test now. So again, you can send that into RGI to find out if indeed you do have a het Monsoon. Even though they have those visual markers that everybody talks about on the hets, you can never be 100% sure. There's a lot of variety in a wild type, so don't trust it. Use it as an indicator, but still have that test done so that you avoid a heartache after 3 years. That would be terrible. But it is much better idea to pay for that big price one time rather than get a female visual and then a het male, because then he's only going to go to that one female and have the same odds. That male is going to breed to all of them, and you have the same odds each and every single time. You'll never go het to het. Very ideal for creating your Monsoon combos. So if you are into Monsoon, look no further. You're not going to find one for much less than what you see here right now. I think the cheapest I've ever seen him go was about $4 grand off a Palm Street auction. So have at it if you are into Monsoon. And that'll do it for this week. Again, just calling attention to that first one that we've seen. I definitely think that you should take a look. It is a beautiful animal, and it goes for a wonderful, wonderful family. Hope you enjoyed. If we helped you connect with one, please let us know in the comments below. We love to hear it. And if you liked seeing any of the genetics you have seen in this video here, you can check out our video on some of these morphs right here and here.